Hey, it is 12 noon on Friday. We're here to talk about today a book review of a book that's had a huge impact on my life. I'm sure it will and yours as well. So great episode. Can't wait to discuss it with you. State of Real Estate. Stay tuned. Got a great show.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Carismo, and every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to mastermind, to grow, and develop your real estate business. And boy, today I'm excited to share with you this book. And so let me give you a little preface on this here. So I'm not the biggest book reader. So the fact that I have this actual physical hard copy of this book, it is definitely says something. Now, I do listen to a lot of books. I have an Audible membership, and the highest membership it is that they offer, and I'm constantly trying to get as many audiobooks into me as possible, and that's my preferred method to digest information, usually through audiobooks. But when I come across a book that has very implementable tactics that are something where I want to use this almost like a Bible of how to dictate my life. There's quite a few books that I have that actually have the physical copy, and the reason why I'll do that is because I want to go through and I'll be highlighting, I'll be writing stuff in, and especially in a book like this, you can see that there's a lot of different exercises for you to fill parts into that. I don't know if you can see that, but that's stuff that's written into this actual book. So like I said, this is a great book. I definitely recommend. What we're going to be doing today, something a little bit different that we don't normally do on State of Real Estate, and it's a review of books. So like I said, I'm a big proponent of audiobooks, and like I said, when it is something impactful, I'll go out and actually get the hardcover copy of the book just so I could really kind of start to pick apart that. I'll digest a lot of books, and some of them I'll just listen to the audio, maybe listen to the audio a couple times, but for the really impactful ones, that's where, like I said, I'll get the hardcover for that. Whatever way you prefer, whether you'd like to actually read physical books or you like listening to the audios, or maybe you have like a Kindle or something like that and you'd like to do the digital books, we've got a link down there that'll take you to Amazon where you could actually get the physical copy of this, the Audible copy of it, the audiobook one, or the Kindle version of that, whichever one is great. However you go about getting this book, I highly recommend it. Even what we're going to be talking about today of how you could apply this to your real estate business, it is by no means what you could take away by actually going through this book yourself. There's a lot of these services out there now that come up with summaries of books, and I think they're great, but if you really want to be able to take away what the author intended from the book, don't just go with a summary of these books. Don't just use this book review. Go out and actually get this book. Maybe like $15-20 to get the book, or maybe $12 or something for the audio book, maybe even less than that for the Kindle version of that. And that, especially a book like this, it has so much possibility to make you so much more money than the money it is that you've spent on the book. That's why I'm constantly getting as many books as I can, and that's something that I picked up from Grant Cardone. I kind of knew this, but you'll notice through this, as well as a lot of his other books, it kind of reinforces maybe some things you already have, maybe a little bit of an inkling that you already kind of understand that a little bit, but this kind of gives you a lot of confirming of some stuff. So some of the stuff may seem very simple, but it's the in-depth application of these simple concepts that's something that I think definitely is kind of an underlying tone with a lot of Grant Cardone's materials. And even though it might be stuff that you already kind of have an idea of, now it's the implementation. It doesn't matter if you know the topics. If you know what it takes, it's a matter of the implementation of what it takes. And that's definitely a topic here within the 10X rule. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to dive into this and talk about some of these concepts in here and how you can apply these to your real estate business, and why you should go out and purchase a copy of this book today. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Carismo with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
I have done for my love.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. And what we're doing today is a book review of how you can take the concepts in the book, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. This is a New York Times best-selling book, and it's one of the books that when I find a book that I really like, I'll really kind of go over this and comb through it again and again and again and again to make sure I extract every little last bit of goodness out of a book. And that doesn't happen with all books for me, but when I do come across something where I'm like, wow, this is a lot of great stuff that's in here, and that's really kind of, you could go through this book 10, 20 different times and you'll probably pick up something you missed before. Think of it in a new light of how you can implement this into your business. So just to give you guys a little bit of a rundown of kind of just the array of topics that this book covers here, I just want to quickly go over the contents that we have here. So it starts off, what is the 10X rule? We'll talk about that so you kind of get an understanding of what this whole book is about, why the 10X rule is vital, what is success? Success is your duty. There's no shortage of success. Assume control for everything. 4 degrees of action. Average is a failing formula. 10X goals. Competitions is for sissies. Competitions is for sissies, and we'll talk about what you want instead of competition. Breaking out of the middle class. Obsession isn't a disease, it's a gift, and that kind of goes hand in hand with the follow-up to this book, Be Obsessed or Be Average. Another one I highly recommend. Another one that I've been through quite a few times and that I also own the hardcover copy of as well, so definitely recommend that. Go all in and overcommit, expand, never contract, burn the place down. That's what's also nice about Grant Cardone's style as an author is and what's also great about the audiobooks. A lot of time these audiobooks, they have such potential to be great, impactful books, but the voice actors that they hire to read these books don't really do the book justice. All of the audiobooks, at least all of them that I've listened to, and I'm sure all of them that are out there in existence, are all read personally by Grant Cardone, so you really kind of get a big impact of that. Tony Robbins is another one where it's usually him reading the actual books themselves. Anytime you're finding an audiobook that's read by the author, it's probably going to be better than the voice actors, because then you're actually getting the emotion of that author that they've put on paper, and that makes the audiobook so much more impactful sometimes than the actual hardcover books. But there's pros and cons to both of those. Again, with this, you can kind of write in, so I recommend having both, not just a single one. Expand, never contract, burn the place down. Fear is the great indicator. We'll talk about that. The myth of time management. Criticism is a sign of success. Customer satisfaction is the wrong target. Omnipresence, that's definitely an important one in here. Excuses, successful or unsuccessful, and then finally getting started with 10X, because all of this book, if you go through, you read this book, you listen to what we talk about today, it doesn't matter if you know these concepts, it matters if you actually implement these concepts in your business. Any book it is that you're reading, that you're spending any time reading, the whole point of it is to actually make your business better, to grow your business, to find out how you could get additional sales, to work with more clients, and so on and so forth. So make sure whatever you're doing, and that's why I got the hardcover book and why I'll get hardcover versions of books, because that's where I want to say, okay, this has a lot of stuff I can really implement. Sometimes I'll go through an audiobook and there's maybe 1 or 2 things I'll pick up that are like, okay, that's good, and it makes the audiobook all worth it, but something like this, there's just so much in here. As you can see, there's like 25 different chapters of various topics, all relating to this 10x rule. And I've read all of Grant Cardone's books, and they were all great. It's hard to pick the number one, but if I were to tell you one to start off with, this is what I started off with, and this is what kind of introduced me to. It was referred to me by another real estate person, and they said, "Yeah, you've got to check out this book. This book will change your life," and it definitely has. It really kind of changes the perspective it is that you have on your business and the way it is that you go through the world. So I just want to go through and try. It's going to be impossible to cover everything that this book and how it can impact your business in this 1 hour that we have for State of Real Estate. And that's why, like I said, go out there and get your copy of this. It'll absolutely be worth it for you. But I want to talk about some of the important things to really kind of give you more reason why you should go out and get this book. So what is the 10x rule first and foremost? The whole kind of concept and premise of this book of the 10x rule is that average levels of actions, average actions, do not elicit extraordinary results. If you want extraordinary results in whatever it is that you're doing, so let's take the real estate business, for example. If you want to be an extraordinary real estate professional, you can't put in ordinary amounts of work. And that's really the core fundamental concept of this, which, again, it seems pretty self-explanatory. And this is probably something that you already understand, that you can't just do ordinary actions and expect extraordinary results. You have to do extraordinary actions to get extraordinary results. And yes, that seems simple, and it seems like something that should be common sense. But again, it's not just knowing this concept, it's the implementation of that. And that's what this book and the concepts in here really kind of help you with. It kind of shows you and gives you the path to actually implementing 10x actions. So the whole kind of 10x of what they're coming up with here, and it's I love it when they could kind of take a number of something, and this whole 10x thing, as far as I know, that this comes originally from Grant Cardone. He was kind of the one that originally started this kind of whole 10x movement type of thing. But now you see this everywhere. Almost any sort of business mentor or trainer or guru or whatever it may be will kind of reference this whole 10x type of thing. And it's about growing your business to getting 10 times the amount of business that you want. Companies like Google, when they're looking at acquiring other companies, gobbling up these smaller companies and making them part of their portfolio, they're not looking for just a little incremental growth, they're looking for exponential growth. And that's what the 10x rule is all about. And this is why it's so great for real estate professionals, especially if you're just starting off in the real estate industry. How do you go from making no money to making $100,000 a year, to making over $100,000 a year? Having no experience in real estate, just kind of coming brand new into the real estate industry and going from zero to anything is an infinite return. But let's say your current income is $40,000 a year. How do you go from $40,000 a year to $400,000 a year? Or if you're a real estate agent that's already successful, and this is why this applies to almost anyone at any level, no matter how much money it is that you're making. Okay, you take that $100,000 you're making a year, and now how do you make it 10 times that? How do you start making $1 million a year? And that's what this concept is all about. But if you want that extraordinary, if you want to make $1 million a year, that extraordinary result, you have to do extraordinary actions. Extraordinary actions yield an extraordinary result. And that's really the core fundamental concept it is that you have to keep in mind going through this year. Everybody probably has a little bit of an idea of these concepts here, but now how do you implement them, and what are those actions you're going to take to actually yield the success? And so that's really what the 10x rule is. And I'll just give you a quick quote out of here that's one of the things that I highlighted on the first page of this, because it really kind of sums up this here. Right before this, it refers to this as the Holy Grail for success. It definitely, it's almost like a permission to do this extraordinary type of action, because with so many people that they live ordinary lives and they're okay with ordinary actions, and it's almost a taboo to do extraordinary action, to work on the weekend, to stay late at work, to go above and beyond. Why would you want to do that? That makes you weird. That makes you stand out. Well, in business, You want to be special. You want to stand out. Some people might think that's weird at first, but when you start having extraordinary income, all of a sudden it doesn't seem so weird. But making that transition and crossing over from ordinary levels of income to extraordinary levels of income, you first have to put forth the actions, and that's what takes a lot of difficulty to put forward. But that quote that I have here, 10X rule establishes the right levels of action and thinking that guarantee success and ensure you'll continue operating at these levels throughout your life and career. Now, as you go through and you progress and you are constantly growing yourself, let's say you went from the $10,000 a year to $100,000 a year, and now you want to go from $100,000 to $1 million. You have to continually reassess your business and recalculate what actions it's going to take to get those results. And this is something that we have set up on our Success Center website, tampaschool.com/success. It's our business plan calculator. And I'm not the one for a bachelor's degree level business plan. If you've got a degree in business, that's great. You'll have an understanding of this, but you don't need to overcomplicate this. This is okay. This is the outcome that I want. Now, how do we reverse engineer that outcome to the actions it is that you need to take? And depending on your profession, your business, that's going to be different. But in real estate, it really kind of breaks down to, okay, how many people is it that you're marketing to? Then how many of those people turn into leads, turn into appointments, turn into contracts, turn into closings? And when you're able to kind of fill in those gaps of that whole kind of formula, which we've got on our Success Center, go on our Success Center, tampaschool.com/success, and then just put in business plan calculator. If you just type in calculator, it should come up as one of the top results in there. And then you're able to input these numbers. We make it so you don't have to even worry about doing the math. You just plug in the numbers, and then now if you understand the math that's going on here, that helps you. But this makes it easy to just plug in the numbers and then, okay, this is what I have to do. This gives you the idea of what those actions are to yield that result. And that's really the first concept that's in here. That's one of the main things that you want to understand is you need to know, first and foremost, what that end goal is. You say, okay, I want to make $1 million a year. I want to make $100,000 a year. You have a clearly defined goal. And there's a lot of books in there, and in here it does talk about kind of setting that goal and really kind of understanding what it is that's going to make you want to get up out of bed in the morning, that's going to really make you excited and get you motivated to actually put forward this extraordinary level of action. Because if you're not motivated, if you really don't want that goal it is that you're seeking, you're going to have a hard time putting in the amount of actions it takes to achieve that goal. And a lot of times you might not be thinking big enough. Maybe you think $100,000 a year is good enough for you, but is it? Is that really where you want to be, or would you prefer to be at $500,000 or $800,000 or $1 million a year? If that's where you really want to be, that's where you need to set your goal. That I want to be here. And now, when you're putting in the actions, yes, it's an extraordinary. It's to go from $100,000 to $1 million. It's probably even more than 10 times the amount of actions you're going to take to get that 10 times level of income. It might even be 100 times the amount of actions. But when you have that idea behind you that, okay, yeah, this is a lot of work, this is a lot to bite off, and most people won't be able to take on that level of action, but I know if I'm able to take on this level of action, I should at least hit $1 million, and if I surpass that $1 million, that's okay. That's really the downside to this 10X rule, is if you put in too much action, you're only going to end up surpassing your goals, which that's not much of a downside. If you set a goal of making $1 million and you make $2 million, are you going to be mad at yourself? Oh, why did I make so much extra money? No, it's ridiculous. You're not going to be mad at yourself for surpassing that income goal. And that's really the only downside to taking 10 times the amount of action, is that you at worst case scenario, you're going to surpass your goal. But putting it forward that amount of action, you might not even hit your goal. And that's probably the worst case, is you might still do 10 times the amount of action you think it's going to take and still not achieve the goal. So it's also kind of comes down to doing the right actions and things like that. And that's why, again, this book, I mean, it's a, let's see here, a little over a 200-page book, it looks like here. And it's absolutely worth every last page of this. There's goodness on every page it is that we could take out of here. So that's really what the 10X rule is. Like I said, putting forward those extraordinary actions to get extraordinary results. Let's do another quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about this 10X rule and about some more of the things it is that you can implement in your real estate business to really take it to that 10X level. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Christma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. And this week what we're doing is a book review of the 10X Rule, one of the books that I could definitely attribute to my success, not only in the real estate industry, but in life in general. That's when you find great books, there's really kind of two classes of books. Classes of books that are very specific and very technical, and those books tend to become outdated the fastest when they're specific to certain things. Like I've read a lot of books on phone sales and things like that, and it's funny because some of these books that I'm reading one of the ones I just listened to, I don't know if it was this year, maybe it was last year, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was talking about, it must have been written in the 80s or something, talking about how you should have go to Radio Shack, which Radio Shack doesn't even exist anymore, so that kind of puts a date on that book there. But go to Radio Shack and get a little microphone that you stick on the earpiece of your phone so you could record your phone calls and review your phone calls to see how it is that you improve. So those technical books, I'm not saying that they're bad, but those technical books are for a very specific purpose. This book, this is more of a general purpose book that really could implement in so many different ways, whether it's calling people on the phone, sending out letters, advertising, the way it is that you interact and communicate with your clients. This applies in every one of those facets, and these general books, these are the ones where you really need to go over again and again and again to make sure you're extracting and picking out everything. So one of the things I want to go ahead and skip over to the chapter 4, Success is Your Duty, and this is another one of the concepts that's really resonated with me. So once I kind of understood this whole kind of 10X type of concept, and this one, there's another book that I just finished recently by two Navy SEALs, and it's called Extreme Ownership, and that's really the same concept of what success is your duty. And the quote I want to kind of pull out here, another one, is just at the beginning of the chapter that just give you an idea of what we're talking about here. One of the greatest turning points in my life occurred when I stopped casually waiting for success and instead started to approach it as my duty, obligation, and responsibility. And that's one of the big, and this isn't just me pulling this out of this book. You go on Grant Cardone's website and he'll sell you signs that says success is my duty. And that whole concept of owning that success. And this is one of the things that I see a lot of times in the real estate world of people that don't necessarily own their actions, that don't own what it is that they do. And what happens, and to give you specific examples of this here, if you've ever heard somebody say, oh, well, you know, the market, it's a buyer's market right now, so that's not good for my seller, or vice versa, when they're working with a seller, oh, you know, or they're working with a buyer and they say, oh, you know, it's a seller's market right now, so I'm having a hard time closing this buyer, or oh, you know, this buyer just won't just won't decide on a house, or that, I found somebody, or some people, had a lot of people come to my open house, but they were just coming there to get the free food, and all of these excuses. And especially when I've taken in this concept that success is your own personal duty. Your success is only your duty. It's your duty and no one else's duty. No one else is responsible for your success except for you. You're the one that's responsible for your success. If you've got a bad situation, make it a good situation. If you've got a bad broker, make it a good broker, or go to a different broker. You're in control of everything it is. Then, in another concept, if we look at what happens, and so we say that we make an excuse of why something didn't go our way, or why we didn't close a deal, or why a client doesn't want to work with us. We make an excuse about that, and what does that do? How does that affect the situation? How does that change the situation? It does not change the situation. When you make an excuse about why something isn't working, all you're doing is complaining. That's literally all an excuse is just a complaint. It's just a complaint, because that excuse that you have, that's not fixing anything. It's a cop-out. You're giving up, basically, when you offer an excuse for something. When you offer an excuse, so right now, we're recording this live stream so I don't know if it's because it's Friday the 13th or because of what, but YouTube was refusing to work for us today, and we're like, okay, let's just get this streaming on Facebook. And then Facebook wasn't working today, and so we're like, all right, well, we can't get YouTube to work, we can't get Facebook to work. We don't know if the country's under a cyber attack right now, or if Facebook didn't pay their electric bill, or YouTube, their servers had some massive fire, or what's going on. And we could just make the excuse that, YouTube didn't work today, or Facebook didn't work today, so I guess we can't do our weekly live stream here. But not only is that bad for us, because that's bad for our students. Our students and all of our loyal viewers of State of Real Estate that come here every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time to grow and mastermind the real estate business. Well, we've got some people, it's been really kind of coming to coming to terms, I don't know if that's the right term, but it's really been in humbling, I think is the right word for this year, to see how many people that love watching these videos and that have an impact on their life about these videos and about these concepts it is that we talk about. So not only are we losing a chance to gain our omnipresence, that's one of the topics in here that we want to talk about. We're losing that chance of our own omnipresence, but we're also doing a disservice to our students and our viewers of State of Real Estate if we allow that excuse. If we're just sitting here complaining, making excuses, we were going to do State of Real Estate today, but YouTube wasn't working, Facebook wasn't working. Nope, let's just record it. We're not going to record it live because we can't do that from whatever reasons, because it's Friday the 13th, because who knows what's going on today, but we still went through, and we're recording this right now so we could later upload this once the internet gets everything sorted out and decides to work again. So it wasn't our problem that YouTube wasn't working. Well, we made it our problem. It wasn't our fault that Facebook wasn't working, but we took ownership of that. We said, okay, success is our duty. So what can we do? How do we move forward here? And that's how you need to approach every situation, every obstacle or roadblock or problem or complaint it is that you have. That's not a dead end. It's okay, now how do we get around this? We don't just give up when something throws some sort of obstacle in front of us. Let's say we're working with a buyer, and you say, this buyer just can't make up their mind. Well, help them make up their mind. Why can't they make up their mind? What's really going on? Maybe they're telling you one thing, but is that really what's causing the issue? Is it because you're showing them too many, that you've overshowed, that you've showed them way too many houses and they're now confused and they forgot what it is that they're looking for? And so what you could do here, rather than just complaining that they can't make up their mind, go and try to reassess what it is that homeowner needs out of the property. Because you show them, you overshow, you show too many properties, there's too much that you'd be showing. There's too much now. They're thinking that these wants and these desires are really needs, and you've gotten away from what it is that you initially started this home search process for. So now you can maybe reassess the situation, go back, okay, look, let's go back to the drawing board. What are the most important things that we find in a house? Because we're not going to be able to get all the things it is that we've acquired now. So what are the most important things? Let's look at our options that we've gone through and try to narrow it down to which ones match up. Let's try to narrow this down to 3 different options that most closely match up to what it is that we were originally looking for when we started this home search process. And by taking ownership that way, you're now able to work towards closing the sale again, rather than if you just say, oh, the buyer can't make up their mind, so you know what, I've just had enough of them, I'm just going to move on to somebody else. No, what you're doing there is you're flushing down the drain all of the work it is that you put in with that buyer. Success is your duty, it's your obligation, it's your responsibility, and if you wait for the universe to make you successful, it's never going to happen. If you're praying to God to make you successful, that's not going to happen. It's your duty, your obligation. The universe, God, whatever it is whatever higher power it is that you believe in, that higher power is just making it possible, but it's up to you whether or not you take on the opportunities it is that you're presented and how it is that you react and respond to those opportunities. Success is your duty. It's no one else's duties. No one else cares about you. Even your spouse doesn't care about your success as much as you care about your success. Your spouse might be your biggest fan and your biggest supporter and the biggest one pushing you forward, and they should be all of those things. But ultimately, it's not their duty for your success. They might play a part in this, but number one person responsible for your success is you. And so that's a big concept that is a huge part out of this. And you know, this book was published before Extreme Ownership. So this is one of the books that, one of the first times I saw this whole success is your duty concept thing. So I could definitely contribute that there. Not saying anything bad. Extreme Ownership, they take this one concept and even further elaborate on that. So that's another book I highly recommend. We might do that in one of these book reviews as well. But at a later date, because this one, first and foremost, if I were to tell you, hey, I need a book I want to start reading books, I want to start listening to books, what book should I do? This is one of the first books I'd recommend that you go out there and get, because not only, this is going to also tell you that, hey, it's your duty for success, so get out there and try to take in as much information it is as possible, which is probably something I don't have to tell you guys watching this State of Real Estate stream here, because you're tuning in here voluntarily. You're not being forced to watch this. You're tuning in here because you want to grow your real estate business to the next level. So you've already taken ownership. And again, a lot of these concepts here are things that you know, but it doesn't matter if you know it. It matters if you implement these concepts. So success is your duty. Now the next chapter that I want to pull out here, and this kind of goes right along with it, there's no shortage of success. And this is another one that's extremely important in the real estate industry. So I don't have the exact number, but last time I checked, there's about 250,000 real estate licensees in Florida, which you hear that number and you're like, whoa, there's 250,000 people practicing real estate in Florida? Not necessarily. There's 250,000 people with a real estate license. That doesn't mean that they're practicing real estate, let alone whether they're out there massively dominating their market. To the contrary, there's a lot of people with a real estate license that don't make much use out of it, or maybe they're just doing it part-time because, you know, maybe they have a friend that they want to help out and they're maybe just closing one deal a year or something like that, or whatever the case may be, or maybe they got into the real estate industry and they didn't make success their duty. With any business that you're starting, whether it's real estate or any business, if you don't make when you're operating your own business, that's where success is the highest priority for you. It's your biggest obligation. Now, if you're, last week we were talking about the cash flow quadrant with the rich dad, Robert Kiyosaki. We're talking about that concept and how as an employee you're there for the security. But even as an employee, success is still your duty. If you want a promotion, you can't just sit around and wait for a promotion. If you want a raise, you can't just sit around and wait for a raise. You have to go out there, earn that promotion, earn that raise, and even then you still might not get that. And that's what's nice about the entrepreneurial side of this, the self-employed, the business side of this, where you're practicing real estate, so to say. You're in control. And in real estate, it's pretty clear that success is your duty, especially because it's commission-based. You don't sell anything, You don't get any commission. You don't make any money. So that whole concept of these commission-based sales really kind of sets the tone that, yes, success is your duty, it's up to you, but at the same time, there's so many real estate professionals out there that put that success on their clients, that allow their clients to dictate whether or not they are successful. No, you need to own that success. And back to there's no shortage of success. There's so many people. Everyone needs a place to live in. Whether they're owning a place or they're renting a place, you could earn commission on either of those. You could earn a large commission on the sale of a property, or you could earn a smaller commission, although it's still a commission, on renting a property. And you know what you're able to do there when you're helping them rent a property. If you're following up with them and staying in touch with them, they're eventually probably going to want to purchase a property. And if you've stayed in touch with them, if you've already worked with them before, who do you think that they're likely to use? You. They're likely to use you again if you gave them good service, but the key thing is that they didn't forget about you. And that's why, again, you need to own that success is your duty. If you're counting on repeat business from them, it's not their job to remember you. It's your job for them to remember you. It's your job that you constantly market to them. It's your job that you follow up with them. It's your job that you send them Christmas cards or holiday cards or call them on their birthday to say happy birthday or like their stuff on Facebook. It's your responsibility to follow up with your clients so that they remember who it is that you are. And again, another excuse that's huge in the real estate industry is, I can't believe these people that I've talked to. I talked to them 6 months ago, and they said they'll call me when they're ready to sell, and they just listed their house with another agent. And go, they're terrible. I hate them. And you're just making excuses, and you're just trying to cover up the fact that you dropped the ball. They go use somebody else, even though they said, oh yeah, we'll call you. They're not going to call you. There's going to be somebody else that actually owns their success, that they make success their responsibility. They went in there, they snuck in on you, and they adopted them from you because they're in there and they're constantly owning their success, and they're following up every week, every month, every so often, or however often it needs to be. Because if you do that, you're not going to lose clients when they say, oh, I'm not ready to buy yet, but I'll call you when I am, or I'm not ready to sell yet, but I'll call you when I am. You drop the ball on that by not owning your success. It's not their fault, it's your fault. It's your fault if that happens. And that's, again, another concept which it's when you think about it, it makes sense. But again, it doesn't matter that you know that. It matters that you implement the actions it takes. That you're living by that concept that success is your duty. Because when you live by that concept that success is your duty, you're constantly thinking, okay, what am I doing today to ensure my success? What am I doing today to ensure not only my success today, but also my success tomorrow? You're constantly thinking about that. And that's why, like I said, I've gone through this book so many times, and why I have the audiobook version of this, why I have the print version of this, just because that concept there is so valuable. But this book really goes into so much detail of how it is that you more effectively own that. We're going to take another quick 2-minute break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking more about the 10X rule and some more of these concepts in here that really, again, just scratching the surface of the concepts covered in this book, but the things that are the most important that you should be implementing today. So we'll be back in less than 2 minutes. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Christma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. And while we're on break, I'm just flipping through my copy of the 10X rule and just trying to decide, okay, it's just so hard to choose because there's so many concepts in here and they're so very important to your success in real estate or any sort of anything, whether you just have a job and you want to be more successful in that, whatever the job may be, or you have, especially if you're a business owner or more of somebody who is more performance-based, you're commission-based or something like that, this is even much more important to those of you in that situation here. So like I said, get this book if you don't have it already. It's absolutely worth its weight in gold. It's worth its weight in something even more worth it than gold, whatever is even more worth. I think printer ink is actually the most expensive substance on the planet per like weight or something. So it's worth its weight in printer ink. It sounds ridiculous, but it's an invaluable book. You could thank me later for getting yourself a copy of this book and really kind of taking on these concepts that are talked about in here in greater detail. So the next one I want to touch on, it's chapter 12 in here. Obsession isn't a disease, it's a gift. And Grant really took this and ran with it in the follow-up book to this, Be Obsessed or Be Average, and that's a whole book kind of dedicated to what he kind of scratched the surface on in this chapter. And this goes back to success being your duty. So if success is your duty and you want to achieve these extraordinary outcomes, if you want these extraordinary results and these extraordinary outcomes, you have to have extraordinary actions. And you put extraordinary actions into something, and that's where where people will start to, until you've achieved the level of success, that road and that journey to actually achieving that level of success, people will look at you as weird or obsessive. And if anyone's ever called you obsessive before, and Grant will tell you this as well in his book, that's really a compliment more than anything. If you think about some of the greatest people the greats in their profession. So just like last week, Tom Petty died, and he was somebody that was truly dedicated to his craft, and he was really obsessed with his craft and just accomplished so much. I was reading a little bit about him after, because I've been a fan of his music from before that, but reading after this and really his life and how much he owned his success and how obsessed he was with making music and sharing his music with the world. And he probably got labeled as weird or that person that's too into music or whatever it may be. And it almost seems if you're into something like that, people are less likely to label you as weird if you're obsessed with music somehow, because a lot of people see what that result is. They see all these musicians that are millionaires and that are famous and successful. So they say, oh yeah, he's just trying to become a musician. But then when let's say you're in some sort of sales job and maybe you want to work over the weekend. You want to put in more work because you're not happy with the results it is that you have. So you're putting in more actions. And people see that and they're like, oh, he's a workaholic. And that whole kind of workaholic thing, I mean, yeah, you only live once, the YOLO type of thing and everything like that. But, I mean, do you want to go through life not being able to, having to worry about money? I mean, that's a stressful life to live in. And one of the things that in modern medicine that they still haven't really kind of been able to explain why, or really kind of, there really hasn't been an effective treatment for stress. And stress is the cause of so many illnesses and so many deaths. And there's been studies that have shown that stress induces cancer, and that stress, obviously causes heart attacks and high blood pressure and things like that. And what's one of the main causes of stress in so many people's lives is, am I going to be able to pay for next week's groceries? Am I going to be able to pay my rent? Am I going to get evicted? Am I going to be able to pay my mortgage payment, or am I going to get foreclosed on? Am I going to be able to pay for my kids' school, or am I going to have to tell my kids, sorry, you can't go to college, or sorry that you can't go to this private school, or sorry that you can't play this extracurricular sport because we don't have money for that? That's stressful. And that stress it drains you. And yes, money isn't everything. It's all these other things that money can buy that makes your life a better life worth living. Why it's so essential. And if you want to go through your life being stressed, and there's ways to kind of mitigate the stress, maybe meditation or yoga and all that type of stuff, and working out, that's a great stress reliever. And where that becomes more powerful, and all these things you could do to relieve stress become more powerful, is when you have less stress in your life. When you have less stress to relieve, these stress relievers not only relieve the stress, but they start moving you in the opposite direction as well, and almost kind of giving you that euphoric sensation just by working out. But if you're just working out to relieve stress, and you've got so much stress built out that your working out doesn't relieve that stress effectively, that's going to put you in a tough spot. So kind of going back to all this here, your obsession is your ticket to your success. And so again, going back to the real estate industry and how you could apply this in your business, you should be obsessed with real estate. You should, when people think of you, and that's if you want extraordinary results. If you don't want extraordinary results, this book is not for you, and really this whole broadcast that we're doing today isn't for you. This is for people that want more out of life. It doesn't matter how much you have currently. If you want more, that's where this book is going to help you. That's where this live stream today is going to help you when you're seeking out more than what it is that you have. If you're content with what it is that you have, then you're okay. And that's really about, again, obsession. It's not a disease, it's a gift. And you look at these musicians and these athletes and these titans of industry, and you look at them. Elon Musk is a great example of this. And Elon Musk is literally changing the world, and he's making millions of dollars in the process. He changed he's one of the fathers of online e-commerce, because he was one of the founders of PayPal, originally called X.com. So his obsession with making banking easier, with making payments easier, completely reshaped the world it is that we live in. And today he's even on more noble missions, because he's already made the money, and I mean he got billions of dollars from the sale of PayPal to eBay, billions of dollars that he made off of this. So I mean, he's good on money, but he still wants more out of life, and that's why he's got Tesla and why he's got SpaceX. So the Tesla to make the world a more livable place, to where we don't have to rely so much on fossil fuels and the whole kind of impact of fossil fuels and all that other stuff. That he's trying to create a car that's not only a car that's going to help save the planet, but a car that's fun to drive and a car that's nice. And people would, when this whole concept of the Tesla, of having a car that's fuel efficient but at the same time one of the fastest cars on the planet, they're like, oh, that's not even fuel efficient, but not even reliant on fuel, just using electricity and being one of the fastest cars on the planet. Unheard of. That he's crazy for thinking that. But now, seeing the success it is that he's achieved, is that crazy? Is that obsessive? And there's a biography on Elon Musk. I think it's just called Elon Musk or something like that. But yeah, his biography of Elon Musk, another book that really another one to take a lot away from, it really kind of chronicles his obsession. But it's really his obsession, and especially as a kid, he was labeled as the weird kid because he was constantly reading books and he was constantly obsessed with learning. And his mother even took him to get his hearing checked because they thought he was deaf, but he wasn't deaf. He was just so obsessed with the book he was reading, or obsessed with his thoughts and his vision and his ideas. So that obsession, it's not a disease, it's a gift. And again, it goes into that even more detail than I'm telling you guys about here in the book. But all the things it is that Elon Musk or any of these people, Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or these people, the Steve Jobs that have achieved the success, if you look at them and kind of study them, it's their obsession that has fueled the success it is that they have obtained. So it's not a disease, it's absolutely a gift. And so we're coming up on the end of the show here, but I still have a few more things it is that I want to kind of touch on with this before you guys go out and get your copy of this, because, I mean, if you're still watching this, you obviously think there's some value here, so what are you doing? Go get I mean, there's not many times where, and I'm not making money off of this. I think there's like an Amazon link in here where maybe we get like 2 cents or something like that if you go buy a book, so I don't care if you buy it through that link or you buy this wherever you go out to your bookstore or wherever to get that. If that makes your life better and helps you achieve a better life, then that's all worth it for me. So this concept of omnipresence, this goes back again to that client that said that they were going to use you, and you said, great, yeah, call me, and then you wait 6 months later and you see that they've listed their property with somebody else, so that they just bought a property with somebody else. And you're like, what are they doing? They lied to me. They said they're going to call me. No, they didn't lie to you. They just forgot who you were. How are they going to call you if they don't even remember you? How do you expect them to call you if you haven't done your job of being omnipresent? And that's what omnipresence is about. Omnipresence is about being everywhere. And whether you're doing this through phone calls, through text messages, through emails, through direct mail, through online advertisements, there's so many ways to be omnipresent. And what omnipresence is keyly about, that it's mainly about, is being everywhere all the time. So that's the omnipresence aspect of this, and like I said, that's so important. There's a whole chapter in here about excuses, because like I said, the excuses that are just a cop-out, that's a way of quitting. There's some stuff in here about being successful and unsuccessful. There's like 25, 27, 29, 32. Yeah, 32 different things that kind of make the comparison of being successful versus being unsuccessful. And what's great about this book is it is vague in a sense, because this applies across, not only across multiple businesses and multiple professions, but across your whole life of what a successful life is versus an unsuccessful life. And it's these key fundamentals, these 32 things they've got in here, that you could use to measure of, okay, am I successful or unsuccessful? And then finally, like I said, the last chapter in here is getting started with this whole 10X rule. And the key thing to take away from that is that you need to actually implement what it is that you've learned in this book. What I've gotten across today is nothing compared to the value it is that you'll receive from this book. And the only reason I would do a book review like this and talk about a book on one of these State of Real Estate shows is to help you guys here. This is a book that I can guarantee you is going to have an impact in your life if you implement the actual strategies. If you read the book and you don't implement the strategies in here, it's worthless. Don't waste your time reading the book if you're not going to implement the information it is that you're acquiring from the book. So you absolutely have to implement these things. If you implement these things, there's no question about it that your life's going to change. Even if it doesn't change in the way it is that you expected it to, it's going to move you closer. It's going to move the needle with this. So if you feel like you're stuck, that you've hit a plateau, that you're not earning as much money it is that you want, that you don't have the ability to pay for the things that you want, that you're worried about if there's some sort of financial disaster that comes up, you shouldn't have to worry about that. You should really truly be secure and be wealthy. Going back to kind of Robert Kiyosaki, the rich dad, the way he defines wealth in that cash flow quadrant book is wealth isn't defined as money, it's defined as a period of time. It's defined as how long are you free from having to worry about whether you're not having money. And with almost 90% of America living paycheck to paycheck, 9 out of 10 Americans, almost 9 out of 10, it's like 86 is like the official statistic on that, but almost 9 out of 10 Americans have a wealth of 1 week or 2 weeks, depending on how often it is that they get paid. And if that's your wealth, the 1 week or the 2 weeks, you've got a long ways to go. Because if something happens to you and you're out of work, or you lose your job, or something happens with the economy and you can't no longer count on that regular paycheck coming in, that's where your wealth is basically zero, where you don't have wealth. It's not measured in dollars, it's measured in time. It's measured in how long it is that you could go without having to worry about money. The longer that period it is, the more wealthy it is that you are. The people that are born into wealth, they're born into wealth because they don't have to worry about money. If they don't ever have to worry about money, they're wealthy. They're infinitely wealthy. If you never have to worry about money, you're infinitely wealthy. And what the 10X rule says about that is, are they infinitely wealthy, or is there still more that they could pursue out of life? Is there still more that they could squeeze out of life? Are they really living to their fullest potential? So this book is not only good for if you're starting a business, if you're starting a real estate career, but also if you've already got a pretty successful real estate career and you just know that there's more to get out of that, and you're interested in squeezing out that more life, out of your business, out of everything. So absolutely recommend this book. I recommend anything by Grant Cardone. It can be a little abrasive sometimes, but it's just because he knows what he's saying works, and he knows that it'll have an impact on your life. So don't get offended if you see something in here that hurts you. I mean, if you're getting offended by something that you see in this book or any book, if something it is that offends you, that you feel like you're being targeted and attacked by what's in there, take a step back from this and let your insecurities down and say, okay, let's see what they're saying in this book here, and why am I getting upset about this? What about my life do I not like that upsets me? Because again, it's your job to own your success. So if you see something in here that you don't like, that you're not happy with, why is that? What is it about your life that you could change? You can't change other people. You can't change other people's life. You can't change other people's situations, but you have absolute power to change your situation. When, like I said, that buyer you have that is having a hard time picking their house, or the seller that you have that is talking about selling their property, but they're not quite ready yet, or maybe you have the people coming into your open house. What can you change that makes those people coming into your open house, that makes the people that you're trying to help them sell or help them buy? What can you change that's going to make you have a better relationship with these clients, as well as at the same time make you more money and offer a better value to them? When you really find the solution and the answer to these questions, the best answer to these questions, sometimes it's just going to take more work on your part and more impact, and that's what the 10X rule says. If you want these extraordinary results, you've got to have extraordinary actions to go behind them. You want 10X results, you need 10X actions. That might even be a quote from the book. So whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, you have to first, like I said, define that goal very clearly and ask yourself, is that really the goal that I want, or would that not be enough? Would making $100,000 a year be enough, or would I still not be happy at $100,000? I should really shoot for $1 million a year, or should I really shoot for $10 million a year, or $100 million a year, whatever that goal may be. So take into account all of that, and you guys could probably watch this live stream over and over and over again and take new things away from it every time it is that you watch that. And that's what's going to happen with this book 100 times, and if not 1,000 times what we've covered today. So absolutely go out and get yourself a copy of this. Make sure you subscribe to State of Real Estate. If you guys like these book reviews, let us know in the comments, because we'll definitely do some more of these and try to get you some more books that could definitely help have an impact in your life and grow your business, your real estate business, or otherwise. So let us know if you like that. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook. We'll keep doing these book reviews as well as State of Real Estate, as long as you guys are getting something away from it. Make sure you tune in next Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, for next week's episode of State of Real Estate. But until then, go out there, get this book, crush it this weekend, and I'll see you next week.
Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Charisma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
I have been for my love.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.